Influence: The Psychology of Persuasion by Robert Cialdini. I consider this book to be one of the top 5 most influential books I've ever read, so I decided to do a summary on it. When I first read this book, it opened my mind to how such complex creatures like humans can be affected by such simple principles. We live in a world where we interact with lots and lots of information, and we need a way to react to all of this without having to think about every single detail. When you drive a car, you don't think about the position of your feet, how your hands are on the steering wheel, when to signal, when to look in the mirror, and so on. You just sit down and do it. In fact, after you get a bit of experience driving, you can even do other things while driving very comfortably, like changing the radio station or taking a sip of coffee. Those things seemed impossible the first time when you started driving. Just like we do with driving, we do with many other things in our lives. We use certain shortcuts to help us make decisions, such as thinking something must be of high quality because it's expensive. Persuasion, as described in this book, is the act of taking advantage of those shortcuts people take. The word persuasion might give a bad vibe, but it does not have to be used for bad. You can persuade people to pick up garbage, or persuade people to consume less energy and help the planet. The book is broken down into 6 different chapters, each one with its own lessons. Reciprocity, giving back what we receive. Commitment and consistency, maintaining a consistent image in the eyes of our peers. Social proof, when you don't know what to do, you look around and do what others are doing. Authority, we respect authority figures and mirror them. Liking, we are more likely to say yes to people we find attractive. Scarcity, if it's rare, it must be valuable. We have developed each one of those shortcuts as a way to analyze more information faster, and they help us most of the time, until someone is aware of them and is trying to exploit us. Reciprocity. I live in Canada, and Canadians are known for their kindness and always saying sorry. Another thing Canadians do is hold the door for each other. A lot. Every time I walk through a double door, if someone holds the door for me, it is almost like an unwritten rule that I hold the second door for them. Not because I have to, but because I feel I have to. This is reciprocity. It's not that powerful to get people to hold doors for you, but this has a deeper application in business. You might have been taught to use this technique without knowing why. When you meet a potential client, you are taking them out for lunch or coffee. You are most likely the one who will pay for the bill. This is not because you want to show how much money you have. This is because they will subconsciously feel they need to repay you back. And the only way they can pay you back is through making business with you. So next time you want to get something from someone, start by giving them something. This does not have to be anything big. Even a small gift is enough. It was shown that the mints you get from the waiter when they bring your bill, the more mints they bring to you, the more likely you are to tip them. Commitment and consistency. When I started working out, like most people, I had days when I did not want to go to the gym. So what I did to get myself to go, I got a couple of my friends to work out with me. This way, on the days when I did not want to work out, I would still go, in fear I would look lazy in front of my friends. The best way to getting people to be consistent to something is to get them to write it down. In the book, Dr. Cialdini talks about how this technique was used by Chinese soldiers on American prisoners of war. The prisoners would be forced to write bad things about America, and then they were instructed to read those letters in front of the rest of the prisoners. This resulted in some prisoners being so convinced America is bad that they wanted to stay in China after the war was over. In business, you cannot take prisoners as much as you wish you could sometimes, but you can still use those lessons. One way to increase productivity is to get your workers to write down how they will increase the productivity of the company, and then get them to read it in front of their peers. Keep reviewing with the rest of the peers the progress of each person. Everybody will want to seem committed to the task, so they will do whatever is possible to achieve this. Social proof. The best way to demonstrate persuasion is through a simple game. Take a few of your friends and go to a busy place. Start looking up at the sky and point. After a few seconds, a lot of people passing by will also look up, even though there is nothing there. We are wired to follow what the rest of the group is doing. This helps us in social situations and helps us bond with other people without using our language. You can use this technique in business and sales. For example, to increase sales, you can put the number of people that have already bought that item. What this does, it tells the buyer that the item must be good if that many people bought it already. Liking. Simply put, we are more likely to comply with people who we like. There are many things that make a person likable, but some of them, discussed in the book, include physical attractiveness, similarity, compliments, contact and cooperation, conditioning and association. Physical complexion in people that we consider beautiful or handsome are seen by our subconscious as more trustworthy, so they can play it to their advantage. It was shown that political candidates that were good looking were more likely to win the election. If presidents and prime ministers can be picked by looks, this explains how powerful this persuasion is. Most people, by definition, are average looking, but not to fear. There are other techniques just as powerful. We like people that are similar to us, people that have the same opinions, personality traits, and lifestyle. Surprisingly, even compliments are a good way to get people to like you. Of course, done sparingly, they can lead to more agreements and signed contracts. The most applicable to business is cooperation. When people work together towards a common goal, there's a special bond that is created, a bond of trust and friendship that can go a long way. In order to make use of this in business, you should aim to make workers feel as much as possible like they're on the same team. This can include giving all of them a shirt with the company's name. Just like a sport team, you are a team working for the same company. Authority. We are more likely to listen to people who we consider of power. This usually includes anybody with a uniform, a policeman, a doctor, or even a businessman in a suit. This is one of the reasons why we buy the certain things famous people buy. Expensive watches don't tell the time any better than cheap watches, but when we see someone famous endorsing it, we instantly feel we should buy a fancy watch. This can be used in advertising by getting famous people to endorse your products. For this to work, the people endorsing the products do not have to actually be famous, but it's enough to act like a famous person. Scarcity. The more rare an item is, the more we want it. People do not eat caviar due to its particular taste. People eat it because it's expensive and rare. The more scarce an item seems, the more we want to have it. Some examples which can be used in business is Black Friday. The idea that some items are cheaper for only one day makes shoppers go crazy. It does not matter if the prices are actually cheaper. It is the fact that it's a limited time offer and it only happens once a year. Use a similar approach in business when dealing with customers. When you seem too available and you have too much free time, you do not seem of value. In fact, you seem like you have too much free time because no other customer wants. Sometimes you should let some calls go to voicemail and return them later. That way you do not look desperate for projects and can maintain your scarcity and value in the eyes of your customers. Now that you have learned how we think, apply those to create a better life for yourself and the people around you. If you'd like to see more videos like this, please like and subscribe.